For more Magic the Gathering resources, check out my friends at paperchampion.net and Kitchen Table MTG. Hey everybody, this is Tao at the Forge, and today I'm doing my recap of my mono-red burn deck. So just to give you like some feedback on the deck is that I found it was just kind of okay to play. It is competitive in that it can beat a lot of decks, but a lot of times, especially against mono white decks, it's very weak. So if your opponent has a Leyline of Sanctity, or if they've got like tons of life gain, it's very hard to beat them. But overall, I found that this deck it really isn't my style. Like, not saying that it couldn't be a good deck, like it could be a lot of fun for people to play, but it's just not how I like to play. I like to play a more combo control style. This is just basically, you know, like, it's almost like it's a race, basically, just trying to do as much damage as you can as fast as possible and trying to overwhelm your opponent. That's not really how I like to play. You know, and it could fit someone else really well. Obviously, there's burn players out there. Overall, I found it was maybe 50-50, like, so half the time I won, half the time I lost. You know, and sometimes it was my fault. Like, I probably could have played a little bit better. I'm kind of inexperienced with the deck. But overall, I just thought it was just okay as far as the play experience goes. You could probably invest some money and make this into a better deck, but you know, it's not, like I said, it's not really my style, and so I was reluctant to put a ton of cash into something like this. Anyways, so let's go through the deck, and I'll show you some of the changes I made. Overall, I kept a lot of it the same, but I did change a few things, and I'll talk about why. There's a couple of things that I added in thanks to some of my comments that people suggested, especially like Pyromancer Ascension, Monastery Swiftspear, and Boseiju, who shelters all. Alright, so with our lands, you can see, obviously, I put in a Boseiju, who shelters all. Basically, you can pay 2 life, add a colorless to your mana, and basically make it uncounterable. Now, the problem, this is only a 1-of, first of all, because it's legendary, and also doesn't produce red, but also only because, like, if you look, a lot of our spells don't have colorless mana in them. Like, about half of them do, which is okay, I guess, but also paying 2 life for it just kind of sucks. But, you know, but when you're racing, and you're probably doing more damage to your opponent than they can do to you, so it's, you know, it's okay. Anyways, I kept the 4 lava spikes and the 4 lightning bolts. Those are pretty much just standard. Instead of the spark elementals, I added Monastery Swiftspear. So Monastery Swiftspear, in case you don't know, is a 1-mana 1/2 with haste and prowess. It's kind of like the Hedron Crab of the burn deck. Hedron Crab is a staple creature in Mill, and it doesn't seem that good, like, just to the lay person, but basically, you know, it gets in on turn 1, for instance, for 1, and then turn 2 can get in for 2 or 3, and then turn 3 can get in again, and, you know, really, it's really valuable just because you're looking for basically 3 damage for every mana, right? And so if you can get this Swiftspear to come in and do like 1 on turn 1, 2 or 3 on turn 2, 2 or 3 on turn 3, you know, it's already got its value. And in one of the matches, I had 3 of them out, and that's really what closed down the game. So I think this is a better value than Spark Elemental, mainly because Spark Elemental can't be brought back from the graveyard. Alright, so anyways, going on, I kept 2 Shard Volleys, and I had actually replaced 2 Shard Volleys with 2 Pyromancer's Ascensions. So a Pyromancer Ascension is whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell that has the same name as a card in your graveyard, you may put a quest counter on the Pyromancer's Ascension. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell with Pyromancer's Ascension has 2 more on it, you may copy that spell, basically just giving you extra value so you can just copy the spell over and over again and, you know, get kind of like 2-for-1s on your opponent. The problem with this deck is that it runs out of gas really fast. So if you don't win right away, then, you know, it's really hard to win. Like, really, really hard to win. Right, so a Pyromancer Ascension helps you to get the best value you can out of your cards. So that can really kind of close out the game. Okay, I left the Hellspark Elementals in. Alright? They're really good, especially because your opponent tends to forget that they're in the graveyard. So, you know, leaving them in the graveyard for a while until the board's clear and then Hellsparking, like just conjuring them out of nowhere, is a really good trick. Keldon's Marauders are good value as well. My only thing I wish is that they had haste, right? Because they come in with 2 counters, but like basically they come in, they lose 1 on the, like they can't attack right away, so they lose 1 on the next turn, the next upkeep, and then they can attack, and then the next upkeep they lose 1 and leave. So still, that's like potentially 5 damage. You know, from 1 from it coming in, 1 from it leaving, and 3 damage. So, you know, it's okay. It's a good card. Magma Jet is really gold. All right. Basically, being able to scry 2 is pretty awesome. So you're sacrificing 1 potential damage, but being able to control your next 2 draws are pretty good. My only problem is in playtesting, I found that I'm not sure if this is moto or just my bad luck, is that every time, or most of the time, I'll just scry into more Magma Jets. I'm like, oh, that's not really what I wanted. Alright, so Skullcrack I kept in. Skullcrack's really good, mainly because you can prevent your opponent from getting any life that turn. Alright, same thing with Flames of the Blood, and then Searing Blaze I kept in, mainly because it has the potential to be creature removal and also damage to our target's face, you know, all for red, which is what we have anyways. So the only problem is you typically want to wait until its landfall trigger can be triggered. With 18 lands, it's not that reliable, but, you know, it happens most of the time. And then lastly, you have 4 Rift Bolts, which are, you know, pretty standard as well. The only problem with Rift Bolt, and my advice is to play it early, because Rift Bolt has to be suspended, meaning that, you know, you can't play it right now. And your opponent can kind of prepare for it, so if they have creatures or whatever, they can sacrifice those creatures, or they can hold up a counter for it, or something like that. It's not always the best thing to have, you know, so if you have, let's say, turn 1 Rift Bolt or turn 1 Lightning Bolt, you should suspend the Rift Bolt. Okay, going to the sideboard, I changed things a little bit here. So I basically kept 4 Ley Line of Punishment, so opponent can't gain life, 4 Smash to Smithereens, you know, against artifacts, but what I changed is I added 4 Blood Moons. I found that sometimes it was helpful to disrupt my opponent's lands and mana. You know, Blood Moon can really help against that, especially in matches like against Tron, of course, and other things like that. I found also Anger of the Gods was a really good one. I had a really hard time against Dredge when I played a Dredge match, and then I also had a really hard time against like White Weenies a lot, and so basically getting a board sweeper would be, you know, pretty sweet. What I'd suggest is, if you're going to sideboard Anger of the Gods, put it in again, like, and take out Keldon Marauders. It's, you know, ramping up your mana a little bit more, but it deals 3 damage to all creatures, right? So you got to be really careful with that one, right? So, or you can, I guess you could also substitute with Swiftspear if you want, but I think Swiftspears are better than Keldon Marauders, so that's what I would do. You just, basically, you're just going to kill your own creatures if you have them out anyways, so maybe take them out for that. That's pretty much the deck. I kept a lot of things the same, changed a few things here and there. What would you change? Is there a mistake here, or do you think I did something wrong? Is there something that could be better? You know, I probably won't be playing this deck again. It's, like I said, it's okay. You know, I don't want to say it's horrible, you know, but it's just not my style, and I didn't really have a lot of fun playing it. Yeah, anyways, that's the deck. Let me know, do you like to play mono red burn, or a burn in general, or do you like to play against it? You know, what do you think? Anyways, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.